Hi guys, I'm Shmee, and today I wanted to return back to my Fuel for Thought series and have a bit of a think about a topic I've been pondering recently while I've been doing various test drives, which is about cars that are a little bit harder to drive, and in turn, being harder to drive, that are a bit more rewarding at the wheel, and in particular, this car of course, the Vantage GT8, a car that is very, very old school, even though it's a brand new machine, and a car that up to this point I've not driven anywhere nearly as much as I should, but the miles are starting to add up, so this is going in the right direction. But in particular in here, you've got things like very heavy steering, a particularly heavy clutch. You've got to be very precise with your pedals, with your throttle response, with your braking. It basically means that when you get out of the car after a proper drive, you're left feeling like that was awesome because you had to get it right. You've got modern cars like the GT4 and perhaps the new GT3 that I haven't driven yet, of course, nobody has, that I think are a little bit more clinical in the way they go about it. But this is very much one that you just have to get everything completely precise to get that feeling. And right now, that noise, just listen. Nothing can put more of a smile on your face than doing that and just accelerating, and you don't even have to go fast in this car. That wasn't even up to the speed limit, and it's still this much fun. So what I was saying, the GT4 and perhaps the new GT3, very, very clinical impressions of a kind of manual rewarding experience. So in the GT4, for example, the way the gearing was set up meant that you didn't have to shift that frequently. It auto-blipped, so there I did it myself, but you'd have the automatic blip doing it for you. You'd just be moving between second and third. Whereas in here, everything is work. And I got thinking about this the most when I drove the Miura recently, because that was serious effort. I was at Perregaux Cars in Switzerland, and to drive the Miura and get it right, double declutching, the steering, which obviously had no power assistance, really, really heavy and hard work, basically left me getting out of the car thinking this was a workout, but it was amazing. And what I found driving this car more, obviously I had an initial test drive of the press car, but the more I drive this car, the more I'm kind of getting that back from this. You get out of it thinking that was a proper kind of experience. And a car like this is about the emotive connection and about how it makes you feel. And if this car ticks the box like that, it is basically the most perfect driver's experience, and I think that's pretty much what all the reviews said when it came out. But for me, for example, right now, just pootling along, it's still enjoyable. Oh, slightly dodgy shift, and that is my point. So I know pretty much what I'm doing, you'd think. I've driven quite a lot of cars recently, but even I'm sort of having to get the shifts right and the right interaction with the car to get the proper drive out of it. So you've got cars like this that are a little bit tough to get used to, and I'm sure there are plenty of driving gods out there who are looking at me right now saying, "How you just can't drive." I don't necessarily agree, but we digress. That take a bit more effort, and you have to think, you have to engage your brain. When you get in the car, you have to be thinking about the drive and about, you know, what you're doing, especially when you've got such expensive sort of carbon fiber parts around the car. But then you do this. It's just insane. This is genuinely insane. Like, not what I said before, it's not YouTube insane, it's genuinely insane. And I think from other cars, some of the things with sort of modern cars, you know, paddle shift supercars, they're stupidly fast. Stupidly fast. But perhaps it's sometimes a little bit unnecessary. You know, you get as much as you need out of this kind of thing, where you drive it, it's quick enough. Even the Focus RS is quick enough. My Focus RS now, with the Mountune package up to 375 horsepower, that is more than enough for public roads. So it's about having fun with cars that can be enjoyable driving experiences, and you know, you interact with, and you actually have to drive. I don't really need to say anything, do I? Just let the car do the talking, because it does it so well. Heavenly. Just brilliant in this thing. So I was saying, new supercars. I'm getting distracted very easily today. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely day to be out for a drive. Things like the McLarens, they go exceptionally fast, but sometimes you lose a bit of character. Same goes for the 488, 570S, the Hurricanes. They are very, very good, very, very quick, but you don't get out of them thinking that was a drive. You get out of them thinking it looks cool, sounds great, etc. Not that that was the drive of my life. Whereas you get out of this, and every time it's like massive beam on your face because the thing is just brilliant. There are even more manual and involving cars you can go to than this. You know, for example, an older TVR would be a pretty fun car. You've got classics themselves, all classics, that you just have to actually concentrate and think about what you're driving. But putting through Village in here, driving gently is fun, but I think my sort of main point here is it's taking me a little bit by surprise how involving this car is, and how the more miles I'm doing, the more it's very much an event. And you know, when I bought it I knew that was going to be the case, but it really just feels like a very special car that I only want to enjoy on days like today when the weather is lovely. Just take it out for a nice drive, go and enjoy the car, enjoy the roads, have a bit of fun, and not sort of a regular car. It's not like an A to B car. I mean, can you beat this? Can you beat this? Even just that rumble, that 30 mile an hour rumble in third gear as we cruise down the hill here. Got the warm sun beaming through, starting to feel a little bit like summer. If only I could just magic myself away to somewhere a little bit less sort of speed limit controlled, shall we say, than the United Kingdom. But right now, just feels good. Really, really good. And that's what this is supposed to be about. Do you think I need to open the valves as well to make it even louder? Could you imagine if I did that in here? Not necessarily sure it's a necessary requirement. What other cars have I driven recently then that have been interesting? Well, I mean, you've got, so the AMG GTR, that's an interesting one actually to talk about, because I got out of the AMG GTR thinking, when I drove it around Portimao at the press launch, that was the hardest I've ever driven a car that I've not driven before on a press launch. And I got out of it thinking it was very easy and clinical to jump in and drive it fast, but it felt like I had been working when I got out of it. And that's a kind of character of cars that's almost impossible, I guess, to predict until you drive it yourself. Similar story with the GT3 RS, even with the PDK box, driving it on a nice sort of French twisty road in the south of France where I was with the car when I had the test drive, and again in California actually. Got out of the car thinking, wow, what a drive, what a drive. And you get that mostly from the sort of more hardcore special edition cars, which, as you can sort of see, is what I'm interested in driving and what I get the most enjoyment out of, which is why I buy them. But the GTR is obviously a very different approach to a car than this is, than the Vantage GT8. They both have front-mounted, rear-wheel drive, V8s, completely different gearboxes, the 7-speed double clutch in the AMG GTR, the 6-speed manual in here, but similar kind of weights, I suppose. GTR is probably slightly lighter, similar concepts, being track edition cars, very different ways they go about it, but both end up with quite exciting driving experiences, which I suppose is got round in a bit of a circle here, but interesting to me. But I think the one thing I wanted to sort of say is how there's more of a driving emotional connection that can come from a car than initially meets the eye, or might sort of feel like it stands out at first. You know, it's not just about what a car looks like and it's top trumps cards. Top trumps cards, I mean, yeah, if you're playing the game, they matter, but in real life have become, I think, largely irrelevant as cars have got so quick. And I talked recently in my What is a Supercar Fuel for Thought that, you know, the hot hatches are getting into what was supercar territory not very long ago, and that's one of the craziest things to me, is that my Focus RS is as fast as like a 430, basically, Ferrari. And that was only, you know, 10, 15 years ago, or not even 15 years ago. I think they came out in 2005. And this sort of number, between 350, 400, 450, this is 446 PS, which is 440 brake horsepower, is the number where you can accelerate in a car, go through a few gears, and not massively break the speed limit and land yourself in trouble. Because at the end of the day, who wants, you know, these massive fines you get now? They've just announced new speeding rules in the United Kingdom that if you get caught at some not crazy amount over the speed limit, you now get fined up to 175% of your week's income, so your week's salary, which, you know, for somebody who owns cars like these, that could end up being quite a horrendous amount of money very, very easily. Oh, look at this chap out for a cycle. I do not want to scare him with the noise of my exhaust. And there's a speed camera right here, speak of the devil. Better not go through it more than 30 miles an hour. Go well under, just to be safe. But this is power that you can enjoy, you can drive up to, you can get towards that red line, you can have fun out of it. And in this, because of the way it's all set up, because of the suspension feel, because of the gearing, because of the gear stick, because of the short throw, the responsiveness of the pedals, it means that when you are driving it, you really, really are getting a reward back from the car that's letting you feel like you've gone out for a drive, you've had a proper drive, and the car is the absolute nuts. I mean, I've used the keywords, we can say, like mega, epic, and bonkers way too much, but this car is so mega and so epic, and the noise is so bonkers. It really, really is a delight, and it's hard to, I think, put that into words about the driving experience and how connected you can feel to the car. And although I'm not going to go out right now and drive around like a mental lunatic, like I talked about also in one of my previous videos, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to abuse the laws and the rules and get myself in trouble and be dangerous and cause anybody else, you know, reckless potential positions. I'll save that to when I'm on racetracks, when I'm in private roads, when I'm in environments where it's much more appropriate to do so. And that's why I don't film myself driving around like a mentalist as well, because I'm not here for that, guys. I want to respect the cars, but also respect safety. I think that's pretty important. So I think it's an interesting topic about what makes a car hard to drive but rewarding as a result. It can be in any bracket. Like a 50 horsepower car can be fun and rewarding. A probably 1000 horsepower car could be fun and rewarding, but others could be too clinical, too, I guess, put together well. I don't know, that's a strange one. Too easy to drive quickly, but not give you that sense of, wow, that was a proper drive. Anywho, when I can eventually pull out from this roundabout, there's a lot of traffic today, let's do this fast and aggressive. Here we go. What a nightmare of a roundabout. Anyway, sometimes you do need a little bit of bit of power to pull away like that, get through a position, but let's head this way. Wow. It's intoxicating, and that's not even up to the speed limit. This is just crazy. Oh boy, you just have to lightly go up through gears and you just have the biggest ever smile on your face. What an amazing, amazing car. Anyway, that's all really. I just wanted to take the GT8 out for a drive, enjoy it a little bit, share the drive with you guys. So thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you join me on the upcoming adventures as well, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. That's enough for there. Thanks guys, cheers.